everyone and welcome back to my channel for another speed build. So today I have decided I'm going to be doing Eve's build over in Ancient's Landing, which is where I've decided to have her house base. So we are going to get in with the build. It is quite a small area up here, but this is where I wanted to place her, so we will start by popping in her house. So to start off with, I obviously popped her house down as it is quite a big house, so I knew I needed to kind of decide where her house was going very early on, and I did place down some of the wally items that I had that I knew I wanted to use in this area, just so I could get a good idea of how many objects I'm going to be using, as I'd already decided a lot of this build is going to be filled with a lot of trees and greenery, as I wanted it to be really covered over and very mystical. So I knew I wasn't going to be using a lot of objects, but I thought I would just kind of put in some of the larger ones to get a good idea of how everything would be laid out. As with most of my builds, I didn't have a huge idea of how I wanted everything to look, but I knew there was kind of a few objects I knew I was going to be using, so I knew I was going to use the table we got with Eve, as well as the kind of flower arrangement and some of the craftable items we have from the DLC, just to fit her vibe. Next was the kind of main core areas, which was placing in all of these huge trees. Now I knew I wanted to use a lot of different types of trees with a lot of different colours, as I wanted it to seem as though this was kind of an alien space or an alien planet where things would be looking a little bit funky with all the different colour trees and plants. Now, as you will see with a lot of my builds, I do cover rock spots. Now, in some builds, I like to leave them open. However, for this one, I just felt leaving the rock spots open wouldn't give me the really kind of crowded vibe I wanted with the trees, and I wanted it to seem very foresty. So I knew that the rock spots would kind of have to be sacrificed. However, I knew that in Ancient's Landing, all the other rock spots we have would have been open, so it wasn't concerning me too much to lose the two rock spots up in this area. However, if that is something that you don't want to do, then you can definitely move the trees about and create little walkways to get to those rock spots if you like. After placing in all the trees, I next kind of decided what flowers I wanted to use, and I knew I wanted to use a lot of the different DLC flowers. I used some from Ancient's Landing and also some from the jungle in the desert, just because I wanted it to kind of look very eclectic and kind of crazy with all the different foliage that I was using. So I picked a lot of different flowers, and then after that I went in with my main kind of bushes and things like that to block in some of those gaps around the trees. Now, as well as flowers, I did use some of the ancient parts around this build, so I used some glimmer as well as some of the ancient cores. Now, if this isn't something that you have a huge stock of, these obviously aren't necessary, as I know these are quite hard to come by and are used for a lot of craftable items. However, these particular ones I had a huge amount of, so I decided to pop these around just to give it an extra extraterrestrial vibe. As you can see, I did place down a huge amount of flowers just to choose from, but obviously I don't end up using all of these in the build. I more just wanted to get a kind of good variety of things in there, including different colours and things like that, just so I could kind of utilise every different flower and every different colour somewhere in the build. Once I'd kind of chosen the main flowers I wanted to use, I then went in with the pathway, which was the ancient brick. I like using this in a lot of the builds in this area, but I felt it just really fit with Eve's kind of aesthetic in this area, and it meant that I could place some of the ferns and bushes over the pathway. Now with the pathway, I did want to have a very direct way to get towards Eve's house and to the seating area, but I also wanted the path to lead up to the back of the ruins, as there is that small kind of balcony area back there, and also a very suspicious looking wall that it seems like we might be getting access to at some point during the DLC questline. However, we'll have to wait and see, so I wanted to make sure we could definitely access that at all times. Now to finish up with the build, I decided to place some food on the table, so I included the best fish forever, which obviously is for Wally and Eve to enjoy together, as well as some of the more outer space foods, and I then went in with some of the Ancient's Landing lights, which I used the blue ones, and as you can see, I will walk you through the build during night when it really comes to life. So as we go up the stairs, we obviously enter and we have the lamppost here kind of lighting your way, and on the left here we have Eve's house, and now it being nighttime and having the blue hues makes everything pop. Like these trees go from a purple colour to a more blue colour, which I absolutely love, and we can see some of Eve's things outside her home there. And as we head round to the right, we can see this gorgeous seating area that Eve is currently enjoying and having a meal, which is where I'd hope her and Wally would sit and hang out. And you can see lots of the other decoration around here, as well as the flowers lighting everything up. I love the fact that the trees hide everything, and as you carry down you can see obviously one of the ancient vacuums, which I mainly included just because it really fit the vibe and looks like kind of an ancient outer space machine, and also one of the craftable ancient fishes, and again lots more lights and flowers, which just really gives everything a blue vibe. Once you go into this area, everything kind of just glows, and I really love how it turned out. I think using a lot of the different fauna and flowers of all the different biomes gave it a big pop of colour, and I really just love that down the pathways you can see all these colours shining out. I absolutely love how this build turned out. It is quite a simplistic build because it is such a small area, but I feel like despite how small the area is and simplistic it is, it really does just bring everything together, and it really fits for Eve's home. Eve's home was one I found a big difficulty with trying to figure out where it was going, so I'm glad that I've done this build, and I hope you guys like it too. If you do, let me know in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I also just want to say thank you so much for all the support on my previous video, and for all the new subscribers that I've gained. It genuinely means the world to me, and I hope you stick around. So I will see you in the next one. Have a good week. Bye!